It's funny, I noticed that from over here and knew that as soon as you got here it was going to be fixed.
What's that?
I put his monitors too close.
2 new monitors.
Oh, you have 2 new monitors.
Well, 2 previously unused monitors. So yeah, brightness and position needed to be set.
I want a new one too. A touchscreen, please.
Every monitor's a touchscreen. Just some of them don't work right.
Right. So
Catching
it's
up to you again, you might want to speed up.
Okay.
Or speed up a little bit and then slow back down. It's good to be a little bit beneath me.
Sounds good.
Flashlight?
Can I check that out?
It's a good one. I really like it. I picked it up and I was like, God, this feels like really good quality.
Looked similar to mine.
Oh, they are really similar, but different. They're actually different makes. Check these out. Check his out. So you like to be, you don't want to be just dead even in the water. You want to be, have Herc be a little ahead?
Right.
Okay.
If you press and hold, it's 1 lumen on startup.
Are those both yours?
Oh, that's nice.
If you double click, it's 2300 lumen. It's blinding.
Yeah, I have the option of cycling through. Then I found out by accident that mine has a strobe feature.
Ooh.
On like as many lumens as it gives, but strobing.
Brutal.
And it does a much more benign SOS, which I found out, which I thought was really kind of cute because I have no idea when it would actually be useful.
That's when you would need it.
Yeah.
You weren't planning on throwing a rave anytime soon?
No. Well, the SOS wouldn't help for that, but the...
You can have a rave inside this van.
I don't. Yep, that's okay. You have a squid in your light bar. It's gone now.
What's going on here?
So Mark's American post-dive quote was, rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub.
We are SCF-less. Wow. Herc has bottle service.
So
What
since
airport-
we don't have an SCF, should we take matters into our own hands?
We could do that. I was going to ask Gabby what airport it was that you almost lost that bottle last year. I just remember that the guy actually, like, they took the bottle from you and then went and dumped it out for you and said, like, this seemed like a pretty special bottle, and then handed it back to you. Mm-hmm.
What else did you do? What else were you keeping track of that I was not? I had a sense of where Kirk was. I was watching Wire Town.
Yeah, sometimes I like to get bubble on the gauges, but that can sometimes take too long. I checked your...
When I'm Argus, I do that.
I made sure that your ground faults were up to date.
Okay.
Because it's like I always view that as I'd prefer to spend another 30 seconds underneath the crane to get that update.
Okay.
As the vehicle sorts itself out in the water, then be released from the crane and be like, yeah, so we have a super hard ground fault and need to recover.
Right, I gotcha.
We don't have as many fish friends as last time.
Have any of you ever seen a giant squid while on the job?
Humboldt, I think, is the biggest I've seen.
I was in the Gulf of Mexico and saw a squid that was about the length of Hercules.
Whoa,
That's pretty big.
that's huge.
But those really big species of squid, like the colossal, are really hard to find. They're super elusive. They're super
Wow.
shy, I think. Humboldts can be pretty big, though. And they're not shy.
Yeah, that's why I brought up Gulf of Mexico, because I don't know that there are Humboldts in the Gulf of Mexico.
No, there aren't. Humboldts are Pacific. There is
But
one.
I didn't know that there were orcas in the Gulf of Mexico either, so.
There are?
Yeah.
Huh. We've got some video of, I think, a Humboldt, like, fully attacking the craft arm.
That's cool.
Like, really going for it.
Full
I was
beans.
not there for that, but yeah, full beans.
And these are those subspecies of lanternfish things?
Mm-hmm. I was just recently watched the Deep Ocean episode of Our Planet on Netflix.
How was it?
It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. What was intriguing to me was they said that because squid procreate a lot faster than fish, that they are filling the basically filling the where areas that we have overfished, they're filling in the gaps.
Oh, wow.
So that makes them more readily adaptable, right? Like they can adapt more rapidly. They get more
Right.
generations in.
Right, in a shorter time period, but they're talking about how there are a number of upper-level predators who are now having to adapt to squid instead of fish as their primary source of food, and since a fish of the same size as, or equal size of a squid is much more calorically dense, that some of the predators have to consume or expend a lot more energy because they have to catch so many more squid.
Huh, wow.
But they also talked about the diurnal migration, and myctophids are something that we do not fish for, but are a primary source of food for a lot of the larger predators.
Oh, ink. Wow. That squid was upset.
Guys, you made me ink.
That is one of my favorite movies.
You know, I've been quoting it this entire cruise, and no one seems to quote along with me. I'm a little sad.
Oh my gosh.
Should have been on the back deck the other day.
I'm right there with you. And I've heard multiple references to escape.
Oh, escape. I haven't heard of that one in a long time.
That happens a lot. I've participated in that. So don't worry, you're not alone in the Nemo quotes.
Well, that's good. Thought I was on an uncultured vessel.
Nope.
Do you speak
Well.
whale?
I do. Not as well as another student I sailed with a couple months ago. He was committed.
I'm sure if you walked around the street speaking whale all the time, you would be committed.
I bet nobody would notice.
Depends on where you were. All right. I'm surprised we haven't had any predation events.
I love a good predation event.
Uh-oh, I think our moderator's here. Nope.
What typically happens in a predation event? What do you see?
A critter eats another critter.
I was
it
going
like
to say
a-
predation. But
Is it like a bait ball, or is it just usually one just swoops in?
Any kind of, especially squid are pretty chompy. Those are fun to see.
yeah, so any of the squid could have eaten any of the little fish. But it didn't seem like they wanted to.
Hey, Darlene. This is the front row.
How's it going?
It's going real good. What are we going to do when we get there?
We are actually going to film. We have actually a really lovely first 20 minutes of our dive.
Ooh, tell me more.
Yeah, so not that all dives are not lovely, but you know, this one is a little different. So when we get to the bottom, we're actually going to be on top of that new vent site that the
I love that one.
yeah, the geologists are calling the Apollo vent site, and that's to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Apollo moon landings.
Cool.
And yeah, and once we get there, I guess they actually want us to shut off the lasers and do some filming. So this is where Wayne will come in. They said to defer to the videographer on watch on how to arrange Argus and Hercules together to provide the most aesthetically pleasing lighting of the scene. And then we actually have 20 minutes to do the first priorities of the filming, which is to film a tall, dramatic chimney. So they want us to actually, let me back up a little bit here. They want us to collect 30 seconds of a time of uninterrupted video that can be edited down later. So what they mean is, you know, real slow, really slow movement of the pan tilt, or none whatsoever, just kind of one line of sight for 30 seconds. No zoom, just hold a fixed image and let the scene unfold. And then they want to allocate about 20 minutes of time for that, and then get into filming the tall chimney, filming Hercules at the seafloor next to a tall chimney. And then there are some other filming targets that they're suggesting we can do a little later when we start getting into IGTs.
Okay, that sounds great. We actually have also with us an expert filmer sitting just to my left who has helped do some of the do some of the filming for
the Nat Geo stuff.
The Nat Geo stuff.
That's awesome.
And knows how to get the arrangement between the two vehicles as well. They've done some real dramatic shots.
You want to speed up some?
Darlene, do you know what they're intending to use the video for?
They're saying outreach, and I don't know whose team that comes from.
Did they give any kind of goals? You know, like a shot list or anything?
Yeah, the shot list, it's not really a shot list, but it's more of a target list. It's filming of tall, dramatic chimney, like the ones we've been sampling and are about to select for sampling. That's site number 1, or target number 1. Filming of Herc at seafloor next to a tall, dramatic chimney, filmed from Argus, pardon me. And C is close-ups of the flow coming out of a chimney and mixing turbulently. Close-ups of lower temperature chimneys, a diffuse flow. Close-ups of some of the charismatic blue ciliate mats, and close-ups of a tube worm cluster with diffuse flow.
Are you on SPL Gabby? Or am I?
I'll announce audio slates when our 30-second clips start and when they end. So we'll know.
That'd be great.
Yeah, because it'll probably take, I'm guessing, hopefully 2 or 3 minutes to set up the lighting, to set up the shot.
Right.
And then I'll play around with the adjustments, and then once I have it dialed in, I'll say, okay, audio slate, 30-second clip of chimney,
yeah,
or
I guess
Hercules or whatever it is we're filming, and then I'll say mark, and then that'll start the 30 seconds, and then.
Yeah, that sounds good, because yeah, they didn't give us a shot list per se, and we'll have to kind of make that up on the fly, but their target list.
Yeah, and then after the 30 seconds, then we're free to maneuver or restage for the next clip, if that sounds okay.
Sounds great.
This is very exciting to have official science goals be to get great footage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It's really great. They want us to do a lot of the A and B targeting, you know, prior to even setting down.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that we capture the vent field in a pristine form.
Awesome. Ooh, jelly. So for Nautilus Live viewers who are tuning in and just starting to join us, you joined us at a perfect time. We're on the way to the seafloor for our 6th and final dive. 6th, is that correct? Okay. 6th and final dive of the subsea expedition, which
It's
is
also H1756.
perfect, which is a collaboration between NOAA, Office of Ocean Exploration and Research, NASA, several NASA offices, Ocean Exploration Trust, which owns and operates the Nautilus, and academic centers across the nation, and research organizations like Woods Hole. Ooh, what's that? And Darlene, I'm curious how you think the last couple weeks have gone. We've been out here since May 24th.
I can't remember now. Oh my goodness.
Ship time.
You know, I hate to say until we're on deck, everything is stowed and everybody's safe. I find that this, for me, Zara was reminding me last night that she's been in the field with me a few times, and usually last night I give the talk where I say, look, we're on the last day. This is where things happen because everybody's tired. And today's the day to take extra care with everything that you do, and operate a little slower and more deliberately just to ensure that you stay safe. So for lack of a better description, perhaps I'm a little bit superstitious, but I'll come back to my assessment of the last 2 and a bit weeks when we're all safely stowed away.
Fair enough. Oh, and also for the folks watching at home, if you're curious to learn a little bit more about the inspiration behind the subsea research program, Darlene offered Nautilus Live a blog that details all of the several years that it took to bring the subsea research program together. So that's now on the Nautilus Live website under latest news or the expedition. You can go into the expedition page for this Gorda Ridge expedition. So while we're descending to the seafloor over the next couple hours, that might be a good reading item if you're curious to learn more about this program. Thank you, Darlene.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah. And you're right. I think definitely moving a little slow today.
Yes, we all are. This morning was a 3-alarm morning for me.
Yeah. Well, I woke up and I thought I was in the top bunk, which is not my normal bunk. And I actually had to open the curtain to determine that, no, I had not accidentally crawled into the wrong bunk.
That's funny. Well, it's been hard too on, I think, everybody's systems because we had to stand down because of weather for a few days. And so then, you know, when you just get into a rhythm with your shift, and then that shifted everybody's rhythm. Then we had to get back, and that really messes with kind of internal biogeochemistry, you know.
Absolutely.
Okay, we just passed through 1,100 meters. Our descent rate is approximately 25 meters per minute. Our target depth is 2750. So that would be 4 minutes for every 100 meters. So approximately 45 minutes. to bottom.
An observant viewer has noticed that, yes, we are continuing west after this expedition wraps up in Vallejo, California, so near San Francisco. We're headed out to the Hawaiian Islands and actually past the Hawaiian Islands and further south.
All the way to the South Pacific.
Over to the South Pacific. And on the Pacific Seamount mapping expedition that's next after this cruise, after this expedition, will be pure mapping, so no ROV dives. So our next ROV dives will be starting the week of June 24th.
I don't know. All I know is I'm not back until the 26th of August.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of nice. I actually have a summer off, which is unusual.
Yep.
And Gabby will be back then, too.
Sure will.
Power team.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I finally leave.
Oh, wow.
I thought you had like a week off.
I got 12 days off after this, and then
Yeah.
come back in Honolulu and sail till August 26th
Yeah.
for a 20-day break, and then I get back on.
So you're flying back to Hawaii?
Twice, yeah.
It's better than flying all the way to Apia.
Yeah. I only had one long flight this
I
year.
was going to ask you, Gabby, how do you deal with the super long flights? As a super long flight professional.
I knit. I'm really uncomfortable. I complain a lot.
Oh, did you look up your flight? Are you going through Houston?
No. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of suck it up every time.
Window or aisle?
I usually go window and regret it.
But then you get the great view. Sometimes.
I use it. Okay, so for Santiago to Punta Arenas, make sure I have a window because you see like the Andes beneath you, and it's just like looking at a geology textbook. It's unreal, like the beautiful glaciers. Then for the red eye from Miami or Dallas to Santiago, I get the window because I want to sleep. But then I regret it because I have to pee.
How long is that flight?
9 hours. But the whole thing adds up to 30.
Yep.
If you're lucky. Can be as much as like 36 if you hit the wrong layovers. I make sure that I get a shower in every airport.
How do you
Is
do
another
that?
thing I do.
That's ambitious.
Get a pass, Admiral's Club pass. It helps though. It's ambitious, but like if you get at least one shower on the way, like Santiago and Dallas, Santiago or Dallas.
Those are two places, yeah.
Santiago or Dallas, it like changes everything.
Yeah.
But no, for long flights, I'm just uncomfortable and grumpy like everybody else, and just do it a bunch of times.
Yeah, me too. It's because like being tall too. It's a real.
Yeah.
You're just stuffed in there, you know, with your knees up around. I can't
Yeah.
even work on my
If s-
laptop.
Yeah,
properly.
exactly. If somebody lays their seat back in front of me,
You're done.
like it's game over.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, there have been a lot of debates about the invasion of space. Pick a side. It was such a great conversation. There was a debate about whether or not leaning back was a right because of the ticket and, you know, the way things work, or whether you were taking away from the person behind you.
Oh yeah, I've been there for
That
several
that debate
iterations of this
is,
debate.
has never come to a conclusion.
No.
They're two deeply entrenched camps.
Yes. One is leaning back right now, actually. But there's no one behind him in the van, so.
Well, you get that farthest back seat, you know, against
Exactly. Oh, hi, Darlene.
Yeah. I look forward to sailing with Mike again. I look forward to sailing with Mike again.
Best thing ever.
I can't hear Darlene at all. Now I can hear Darlene, but that's because I'm forced listening to her. Everybody was talking about if they could hear Darlene, so I figured I would chime in. I'm just trying to help.
I can hear Darlene.
We were having
I can hear Darlene.
we were having a one-to-one conversation.
Oh,
Well, she's forced listening to Psi 1, so good luck with that.
me eavesdropping.
There's no privacy in the vans.
Nope.
Secrets don't make friends. Do we have any science questions?
How about jokes?
No jokes. Too early.
What?
Too early.
all
That's
you have to do in
nonsense.
response to the joke is,
You
It's
don't
true.
have to respond at all.
it's way easier than a science question. What about haikus? Have you gotten any haikus this year?
John is very partial to haiku, so I suspect they've been getting some on his watch.
I didn't realize that John was a haiku person.
I don't think it's come out this year.
That's great.
Okay, here's one. Are there any real differences between ocean floors in similar latitudes between the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans, such as species or geological features on the seafloor?
I'm
Oh.
going to say that while I've seen a lot of that seafloor, I'm not qualified to answer that question, as I could not tell you where I was specifically in the world, so much more than the port that I got on the boat in and the port I got off the boat on.
I would say it's probably not latitude dependent.
Yeah, so at
Most
the,
of this
at,
seafloor is pretty just
at the bottom here,
sandy.
it's the same temperature water, essentially, as the bottom of the ocean in Antarctica. Like, it's different enough that a physical oceanographer could tell you it was different, but it's not different enough that we would say it was different. It's all about 1 degree to -1 degree. But yeah, I don't think it varies with latitude. It certainly varies with where you are. but that's varies with plate tectonics more, plate boundaries.
Yeah, that's where you get the exciting stuff. A lot of the ocean is known as the abyssal plain, and it's just like soft sediment and the occasional, large critter. But there's all kinds of little things in the sediment. And there might be a lot of similarities there, but you have these hot spots of life, quite literally, because they're hydrothermal vents.
You also have like vast deserts. I
Yeah.
think the Pacific gyres underneath them is supposed to be like pretty deserted. I could be wrong about that, but I know there are some pretty vast deserts in the ocean, places where there aren't much life. The sedimentation rate is super slow.
Oh, we get in on Sunday. Sunday's ice cream day. You said dessert.
Boo.
I guess I did. You're
Yeah,
right.
deserted.
Deserted.
On Sundays, we're usually deserted with ice cream. Yeah, I guess that's the best I can give for an answer.
It's a good 4 a.m. answer. 5 a.m.
It's probably the best answer I could give at any time.
Well,
The
we do what we can.
as not being a scientist, and truthfully not knowing where most of the things that I saw happened. Because the van looks like the van looks like the van, no matter where you are.
It's very deep, Greg.
And most of the ocean looks the same
Hey.
if you're just looking at the surface. I mean, there are definitely differences, but
Well, answering a question did produce a joke. Our friend Bobby, who says good morning to the great 4 to 8, which is very kind.
Bobby Argus?
Not Bob. Well, maybe. This is Bobby of the flamingo and two-worm joke that we all very much enjoyed.
Oh, that
Yes.
was lovely.
Has
Bobby,
another one.
you are a hero.
Well, here we go. Let's see this joke first, and then you can decide.
Okay.
If the coil of the umbilical cable slips off the shelf and breaks it, whose fault is it? It's the ground's fault.
still a hero.
Still a hero.
Maybe even legend
Yeah.
status.
Very, very topical jokes. Following closely. Thank you, Bobby.
I still say it's too early.
I feel like
Nope.
he could earn the honorary title of Bobby Argus.
Maybe.
If he can come back with a hat trick, like 3 good made-up jokes.
Whoa.
I feel like Rennie has to
That's
be
a
the
challenge.
one who makes
Oh,
that decision, though.
confers the
Yeah.
title. I don't know. As Bobby Argus's niece, I could
Babby Argus?
probably.
Babby Argus?
Well, I think we might need to update the viewers on this one.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if the story's been told
Oh, okay.
today.
Oh, okay. Oh, I need to tell it?
Yeah. And include the legend, the new legend of Babby Argus.
I am not, but I don't quite know how to tell it. I mean, I don't know how to tell it. I really
can
just
A
tell it.
long time ago.
I can tell it. Yeah.
Okay.
So in the time before times,
Time that is not now.
The before times. Oh, are you
Yes.
gonna tell? Are you gonna tell the legend of Bobby Argus, followed by the legend of
well,
Babby Argus?
I feel like if they don't understand the legend of Bobby Argus, how are they ever going to understand the legend of Babby Argus?
Start the story.
All right, so it all started about 32 years ago when one of our navigators was born. He was born to be a navigator.
I hadn't even started the story yet.
Eventually, he found his way to his home, and it is one of his primary residences, which is on board the Nautilus. And so the navigator, who we're going to call Rennie for short,
Names have been changed to protect the innocent.
was sitting in his accustomed chair, the nav seat, and it was scanning through the cameras on the multi-display. Now the multi-display has cameras from pretty much only the vehicles. And we talk about looking at gauges on those cameras all the time, but there is one camera that is looking at gauges that is not on the vehicle, unbeknownst to our fabled navigator. And so one day when he was looking up at the monitor, he saw a shadow in this particular camera. Now, this particular camera is in the hold, and it is the responsibility of the Argus pilot to check the gauges in person prior to coming up on watch. So a watch change was in the process, and the Argus pilot had gone down to check the gauges, and our navigator, looking at the camera, saw a shadow in the camera. And yeah, for a moment he was lost. He was lost. But then he was found by none other than Bobby Argus. And the legend of Bobby Argus was born. It's rumored that Bobby Argus always existed, but was just unknown about, and that Rennie was the discoverer of Bobby Argus. Some say that he just confused one camera for another camera and saw the shadow of our Argus pilot, but really, without scientific experimentation, who's to say? So that's the background story. If you're still with me, that's great. If you're not, I totally understand. Now, I feel like I'm really not the best person to give the true story of Babby Argus, because that story is actually rather complicated. There's a lot of intricacies there. A lot of emotional baggage to unpack. The long story short is that Babby is Bobby's niece, which I think is a given, just Babby.
Yep.
And it just so happens that Gabby, at one time, earned the nickname of Babby, and she was an Argus pilot. So, by the transitive property, you have Babby Argus.
This is not science.
Sam,
I said that earlier. I said none of this could be proven.
you're always bursting our bubble.
But in a fun way.
So what's the science behind the joke?
That lasers don't dig trenches, and Babby Argus isn't real. There's no Santa Claus either.
What? That one's not true. Last one's not true. And I'm not sure that Babby Argus doesn't exist either. I'm not convinced. Because without Babby and Bobby Argus...
So... Yeah, I got nothing.
Who's going to deal with Sodor?
Sodor?
Yeah.
Who's Sodor?
Sodor also was a invention, we believe, of our famed navigator.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And Roger Starbird?
Yeah.
Wow, he's invented so many.
Or maybe he's just a chosen one. It's hard to say.
I was going to say, these are all
no one really knows.
very apocryphal. All of these characters.
Yeah, we were looking at one of the ROPO stickers.
Oh.
Yeah, and he read it upside down and backwards. Sodor.
That's right. I remember.
Women's World Cup starts today.